So, all right. So we're back with my Minecraft dungeons because that's what it is. You saw it before you clicked it. I'm Diz. Mark is the one that sounds white, and Mr. Newman is the one that's reading us one of the worst stories you've ever
Trying to
heard
do
in your fucking life.
accents, but he's failing so hard.
Also, by the way, uh, it was a movie and it stars Elliot Page.
I don't
Hey,
know who
I'm
that
gonna
is.
get there, man. I'm gonna get there.
Oh,
Golly, white people just destroying all the
For
stuff.
real. Jeez, just stay quiet. Get in the back of the bus.
I thought it was funny.
All right, where
Fine,
we left
goddammit.
off yesterday.
No, this is last week.
God dang it.
But you tried though.
George Rice began his closing argument by decrying the fact that Paul and the other defendants had been tried jointly. Okay, so Gertrude's lawyer was trying to get an insanity plea. The other lawyers were trying to say, "Hey, these are kids. You can't sentence them to death." And then this girl's lawyer was like, "I don't think it's fair that we were all tried together." Sidestepping the multiple instances of testimony delivered at trial describing Paula and her mother as by far the most enthusiastic participants in Lycan's physical abuse, Rice claimed the evidence presented against his client did not equate to her actual guilt of murder. He then ended his closing argument with a plea for the jury to return a verdict of not guilty on a girl who had gone through the indignity of being tried in an open court. James Netter began his closing argument in defense of Richard Hobbs by referring to the loss of Lycan, stating, "She had a right to live. In my own heart, I cannot remember a girl so much sinned against and abused." He then referred to Hobbs's courage in opting to testify in his own defense and the savage and relentless cross-examination to which he had been subjected by Leroy Newman. Netter attempted to portray his client as a follower-type personality who had acted under the control of Gertrude Banachewski, suggesting that had he not carved part of the obscene insult into Lycan's abdomen at Gertrude's request, Hobbs could have well been a state's witness as opposed to Stephanie Banachewski. He then referred to Jenny's overall failure to notify authorities of her sister's abuse until she had already died, describing her as a sister who could went 3.5 miles to a park but couldn't take 2 or 3 steps out into New York Street to beg for help.
See, Mark wasn't paying attention to what he was picking. Got us up here getting fucked up.
Leonard ended his closing argument by requesting a verdict not guilty, stating Hobbs was guilty of immaturity and gross lack of judgment, but not of the crime of murder. So this lawyer,
we ain't gonna make it.
This lawyer said, "Shame on you for attacking my child, who is a client. My client who is a child."
Make it.
And then he proceeded to attack a child.
What happened?
I left because we wasn't gonna be able to do that one.
I was doing fine.
No, you weren't.
I was still alive.
We weren't going to be able to do it.
Okay.
Are you a we? You are a they.
All right, rebuttal.
I ain't got no rebuttal.
Here we go. Leroy Newman rebutted the defense counsel's closing arguments by promising to speak through the mangled and shredded lips of Sylvia Likens. "I see her wherever I look." Outlining the catalog of mistreatment Likens had endured prior to her death, the hands of each of the defendants New directly addressed criticism he had earlier received from Forrest Bowman in his closing argument regarding the prosecution's cross-examining children, stating the prosecutor's job is to present the evidence to the best of our ability. Now let's look at some of the responsibilities here. Each one of the 5 defendants had first and foremost the responsibility to leave Sylvia Likens alone. We had the responsibility to bring all the evidence we could find that could explain this crime. Referring to the sentimental closing arguments made by various defense counsels regarding reasoning and motivation for the client's actions, their attempts to divert responsibility to other defendants or participants in their client's collective failure to either help Lycans or notify authorities. New added, all we hear is whining appeal. Anything but blame where the blame belongs. He then speculated as to the reason Lycans did not try to escape from a Dizz2K household prior to the abuse increasingly escalating in the final weeks of her life, stating, I think she trusted in man. I think she did not believe these people would do this and continue to do it. He concluded his closing arguments by emphasizing the defendants' unison in their collective mistreatment of Lycans before asking the jury to dismiss arguments made by various defense counsels regarding who may have actually inflicted the fatal blow to Lycans' head, stating every mark on that girl's body contributed directly to her death, and that was testimony. The subdural hematoma was the ultimate blow. This is the most hideous thing Indiana has ever seen and I hope will ever see, stating that not a shred of evidence has been produced indicating any defendant was suffering from a form of mental illness, though again requested the death penalty for each defendant, stating to the jury, the issue here is not about the electric chair or a hospital, but about law and order. Always shy away from the most diabolical case ever to come before a court or jury. If you go below the death penalty in your verdicts, in this case, you will lower the value of human life by that much for each defendant. The blood of this girl will forevermore be on their souls. Convictions. The trial of the 5 defendants lasted 17 days before the jury retired to consider its verdict. On May 19, 1966, after deliberating for 8 hours, the panel of 8 men and 4 women found Gertrude guilty of first-degree murder, recommending a sentence of life imprisonment. Paula found guilty of second-degree murder. Hobbs, Hubbard, and John Jr. were found guilty of manslaughter. Upon hearing Judge Rapp pronounce verdicts, Gertrude and her children burst into tears and attempted to console each other as Hobbs and Hubbard remained impassive. On May 25th, Gertrude and Paula were formally sentenced to life. The same day, Richard, Coy, and John each received sentences of 2 to 21 years to be served in the Indiana Reformatory. Oh, they have a picture of them. This lady was only 36? Jesus!
I'm not putting the pictures up. If you want to know, you gotta look that up. I'm not doing more editing than I have to.
Oh my gosh.
I don't get paid for it.
In September, and I don't get paid enough, man. In September 1970, the Indiana Supreme Court reversed the convictions of Gertrude and Paula on the basis that the judge had denied repeated submitted motions by their defense counsel at their original trial for both a change of venue and separate trials. This ruling further stated that the circumstances regarding the prejudicial atmosphere created during their initial trial due to the extensive news media publicity surrounding the case impeded any chance of either appellant receiving a fair trial. Wow. The pair were retried in 1971. On this occasion, Paula opted to plead guilty to voluntary manslaughter rather than face a retrial. She was sentenced to serve a term between 2 and 20 years imprisonment for her part in Lycan's abuse and death, despite twice unsuccessfully having attempted to escape from prison in 1971. She was released in December of 1972. She didn't even serve the full 2 years. Gertrude, however, was again convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life. Over the course of the following 14 years, Gertrude became known as a model prisoner at the Indiana Women's Prison. She worked in the prison sewing shop and was known as somewhat of a den mother to younger female inmates, becoming known to some within the prison by the nickname Mom. By the time of Gertrude's ultimate parole in 1985, she had changed her name to Nadine von Fossen, a combination of her middle name and maiden name, and described herself as a devout Christian. News of Gertrude's impending parole hearing created an uproar throughout Indiana. Jenny Likens and other immediate family members of the Likens vehemently protested against any prospect of her release. The members of two anti-crime groups also traveled to Indiana to oppose the parole and to publicly support the Likens family. Members of both groups initiated a sidewalk picket campaign. Over the course of 2 months, the groups collected over 40,000 signatures from citizens of Indiana, including signatures obtained from outraged citizens who were too young to contemporarily recollect the case. All signatures gathered demanded that Gertrude remain incarcerated for the remainder of her life. Within her parole hearing, Gertrude stated that her wish that Likens' death could be undone. Although she minimized her responsibility for any of her actions, stating, "I'm not sure what role I had because I was on drugs. I never really knew her. I take full responsibility for whatever happened to Slyvia." Taking Gertrude's good conduct in prison into account, the parole board marginally voted in favor of granting her parole. She was released on December 4th, 1985. Following her release from prison, Gertrude relocated to Iowa. She never fully accepted responsibility for Likens' prolonged torment and death, and something she was unable to precisely recall anything that happened in the months, and blah, blah. She primarily blamed her actions upon the medication she had been prescribed to treat her asthma.
Get the fuck out of here.
What was this medication? Gertrude lived in
Ambien don't do that to you.
Gertrude lived in relatively obscurity in Laurel, Iowa until her death due to lung cancer June 16, 1990 at the age of 61. Regarding Gertrude's death and the issues raised pertaining to her sanity of both her trials, John Dean, a former reporter who had previously extensively covered the case, stated in 2015, "I never thought she was insane. I thought she was a downtrodden, mean woman." Dean also likened the case to William Golding's novel, Lord of the Flies. Interesting. Although he has stated Likens' increasing physical and emotional abuse was not a result of children going wild. It was children doing.
Don't come over there and just try to.
You're
You're gonna die in the process. Like, clear them out before you come over there trying to save me. Just trying to brute force, you're gonna get your shit pushed in.
Of Benedict's actual motive for tormenting and ultimately murdering Likens' attorney, Forrest Bowman, in 2014, she had a miserable life. What I think this was ultimately about was jealousy. After her 1972 parole, Paula assumed her new identity as well. She worked as an aide to a school counselor for 14 years in Iowa, having changed her name to Paula Pace and concealing the truth regarding her criminal history when applying for the position. She was fired in 2012 when the school discovered her true identity. Paula married and had 2 children. The baby daughter, to whom she had given birth while awaiting trial in 1966, and whom she named after her mother, was later adopted. The murder charges initially filed against Gertrude's second oldest daughter, 15-year-old Stephanie, were ultimately dropped after she agreed to turn state's evidence against the other defendant, Snitch. Other prosecutors did resubmit their case against Stephanie before a grand jury on May 20. The decision to later prosecute her in a separate trial never materialized. Stephanie assumed a new name and became a school teacher. She later married and had several children. She was last known to have resided in Florida. When questioned at the trial as to her motive for turning state's evidence, Stephanie said, "I'm just here in hope I can help anybody." In response, her mother's attorney replied, "Including yourself." Shortly after her mother's arrest, welfare placed Marie, Shirley, and James in the care of separate foster families. The surname of all children were legally changed to Blake in the late 60s after their father regained their custody. Marie later married. Marie died of natural causes in 2017 at the age of 62. Dennis was adopted. His adopted mother named him Denny Lee White. He died February 5th, 2012 at the age of 47. Richard Hobbs and Clay Hubbard and John Jr. all served less than 2 years before being granted parole. Richard died of lung cancer on January 2nd, 1972 at the age of 21. Jeez. Less than 4 years after his release. In the years between his release from the Indiana Reformatory and his death, he is known to have suffered at least one nervous breakdown. Following his 1968 release, Coy Hubbard remained in Indiana and never attempted to change his name. Throughout his adult life, Hubbard was repeatedly imprisoned for various criminal offenses, on one occasion being charged with the 1977 murders of 2 young men, although largely due to the fact that the chief witness to testify at this trial had been a convicted criminal acquaintance of Hubbard, who admitted to having been in his company at the time of the murders. He was acquitted of this charge. Shortly after the January 2007 premiere of the crime drama film An American Crime, Hubbard was fired from his job. He died of a heart attack in Indiana on June 23rd of that year at the age of 56. John Jr. lived in relative obscurity under the alias John Blake. He became a lay minister, frequently hosting counseling sessions for the children of divorced parents.
All right. Oh my
after-
no, that's enough. That's enough. We don't care. Like we none of that is important to what I need to say.
It is. We have to know.
No, you can read it. I can't stop you from reading it, but we don't need to hear it. We super duper don't need to hear it. Like there's a bunch of like basically like it became pop culture.
I'm getting to pop culture.
No. I said it became pop culture. That's I'm not interested in it. Like
This is the part of the Sandlot when they tell you what happened to all the characters.
No, don't give a shit about that. Like, just it's really, it's not only not important, it's not even interesting.
To you, it's not interesting to you.
It's not interesting to anybody. I mean, maybe you, but like,
I'm sitting right here, and it's interesting.
Well, yeah, but I don't care. The reason I had anybody subject themselves to, but it's usually one of the worst things you can probably ever read or have read to you. And I do mean fucking terrible. Like, none of that is good. It's like, even like, well, I guess if you're like a sadist. A sadist, is it? Yeah, a sadist. I suppose like you'll probably get your rocks off. But you got more problems than just being a sadist if that's the case. If like this is making you wet. So I sent Mark last night a video of a white woman dancing to the Mortal Kombat thing. She wasn't dancing. Like it's not nearly as fun as it sounds. All right, goddamn. But I apparently I broke my ankle and died. Which is I was about to say convenient. That woman, Mark, are you paying attention? Because this is where it gets. This is okay. That woman in that video is under the impression that she is the reincarnation of the one.
I need you to stop me right now.
There is a video where she tells us, the viewers, the audience, that she felt like she found, like, in her spirit, she realized that she was this person. Now, I realized I had told y'all, like, I was going to want y'all to try to guess. Why would I want you to know this? And your bro said that there was just no way. And I'm pretty sure, like, I'm halfway right. Like, just, there wouldn't have been a way to figure out that that was what you wanted. That's what I was going to tell you. But, okay, so we're at a break. Hold up. I'm going to send your bro the video. And so he can watch it. It is, for anybody curious, it is called Reliving My Past Life as Sylvia Likens. I am telling you now, I am not telling you later. This woman in this video proceeds to she speaks in a way, it's her. She is Sylvia. She does not tell you the story about Sylvia Likens. No. She just proceeds to let you know that she woke up and and the spirit spoke to her and told her that she was indeed Sylvia Likens. And then she proceeded to tell you what all, like some of the things she experienced. And she speaks from a first person perspective. She does not say she says I. Every fucking time. What's happening, Mark? What are we doing?
I'm waiting for you to finish.
That, like, there ain't nothing else to say. They just sat there and listened for about an hour as we described the brutal, like, torture and death of a girl. Are we going through here or not? What's happening?
I'm waiting for you to finish.
I can talk and play the game. That is what the entire channel is. The fuck?
No.
So, I realize the internet right now is a hotbed of you don't know. And you know what? Y'all are right. Your bro doesn't have an opinion. He probably does. He's just not speaking at the moment. I can't say...
No, just on reading.
Yeah, okay, cool. I can't say with impunity that she definitely isn't the reincarnation of the Sylvia character. I can't. I can't say that for sure. Because I don't truly know. But I do strongly believe that she most likely ain't.
I will say it's a very strange, specific thing.
Now, you know what? In theory, I would agree. But in reality, not really. Because if you think about what it was, like what the case is, putting Sylvia Likens' name in the video title is probably in and of itself like helpful, because it's driven up the views. Now the comments on that video, on the other hand, not what I would refer to as positive comments in any stretch of the imagination, because a lot of people seemingly already know the story of Sylvia Likens, and they don't think it's funny that she thinks that she's Sylvia Likens. But she has a lot of content on her channel. Now, the only reason I came across this lady is because, again, somebody I know knew her. And I was like, yo, when you met her, like the rest of her channel is just the occult. It's about it's about spirits. She apparently goes to like a lot of cemeteries and stuff like that. Like, that's what her channel is. Her channel is 100% about spooky spooks. Like, she apparently like strongly believes in the occult. She believes in spirits, she believes in possession, shit like that. More so, she believes in ghosts. And I'm not here to say that ghosts ain't real. I don't do ghosts. Like, I can't stress that enough. I don't fuck with ghosts. So they 100% might be real. But I ain't finna find out no time soon. And I feel in my heart of hearts, it is definitely not like I said, it wouldn't be, I couldn't promise that it would be worth it to figure out why the fuck were you like listening to this story. Wow, you just came over and died. The situation at hand definitely seems to be that we are recording these videos out of sync, like out of order. Not out of order, like normally when we record a video series, we'll do 5 videos at a time, and that 5 videos will usually be like 1 through 5, 6 through 10, stuff like that. But given that we started this a bajillion years ago, and I think when we jumped back, what was it we jumped in? Like, did we start this after we did Stray?
Yeah.
Like the night we
like
did.
The moment we finished Stray, it was like, hey, we're gonna play this.
No. I know for a fact that like the moment we figured, Like as like within 30 minutes of us finishing that Ragnarok, I was like, let's have a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
Like, but I don't know if this was that same situation. Because I do remember like when Stray was over, I wasn't the happiest character on the planet. Which I don't know, this is how I felt about Ragnarok. When it was all said and done, I was just like, well.
Oh, we made a. No.
But that's not ominous in the slightest. Oh, it's great. I get to do this while not being able to stand still. Ow.
Stop moving.
Really, a bullet hell on ice? What the fuck is this nonsense? Ouch. Get away from me. I can't see who I am. Ouch. Now, given that I don't know if I'm gonna be able to like, we don't get down in that capacity where it's, you know, I don't expect true crime stories every week or ever again, honestly. Because like the only reason I told you that story is simply because I have run into somebody on the dark corners of YouTube who is under the impression, and when I say like under the impression, I don't mean like she posted a video like 3 years ago where she was talking about Sylvia Lycan. The video in question is only 10 months old. Like within the last year, she was like, yeah, like I'm Sylvia. I remember like being beaten and tortured and like all these other things. She remembers it. You understand what I'm saying?
Vividly.
Like she remembers what it was like. But I will say that it's slightly funny, at least to me, that there are so many commenters who are like this isn't funny, you shouldn't say this stuff. And I'm like, well, you know, like Sylvia's dead, man. Like ain't a whole lot you can really do. Ain't, you know, there ain't no real reason to be so upset about it.
You know, it's nice to know that if Sylvia was still alive today, that she'd be in the Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I don't have answers for that, man. Like, did you actually watch that video?
Yeah.
Like the whole 60 seconds? Like the
Yes.
whole god damn. I couldn't. Like when old girl sent it to me, I was like, okay.
The secondhand embarrassment was real, but I watched it.
That's the thing. It wasn't secondhand embarrassment to me. Like the problem I had with it was like, as soon as I saw Mortal Kombat, I was like, oh, this is gonna be terrible. And like, I didn't know how to feel about her body. You know, I'm not judgmental in that capacity, but like, there's, you know, like when I say judgmental, I mean I ain't saying that she's a bad person because she doesn't have the world's greatest body, but like she has no butt, and she's relatively like, I want to say fit. But it very much looks like she drinks because she has a bit of a belly. Like just enough, like for a small frame. Like she has a small frame, but she has a tummy. You know, for her frame. And like the thing that was wild to me was that she clearly was doing it in a small area because when it came to doing her kicks, she had to very tentatively kick. She couldn't like just fling her foot out there. I think she was like on the like she was aware that she would kick her phone or whatever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how to feel about the whole concept of like, because it was basically like it was basically how you describe it, like aerobics is what it was. Hold on, the exact name. Anybody wondering the name of the video in question? Is called Mortal Kombat. Hold on, what the fuck is it called? Mortal Kombat workout in fast something. Hold on, let me see what the fuck it's called. She has a long torso that is loud. Did that pick up? Did any of that pick up? I hope not. I really hope they didn't pick any of that up. In fast mode. Mark, what was fast about that?
Uh, I'm
I
just that good at.
I never caught that part, but yeah, it's literally called like Mortal Kombat Workout in Fast Mode by Haunted Falls. The name of it's got 25 views in 10 months. I can say with certainty, I'm doing better than that. Not all of the videos, mind you, but in 10 months, I feel like I can find a video. You know what I'm saying, and I'm almost positive I can't. Hold on. No, I can. For whatever reason, episode 53 of God of War, Ragnarok has 55 views. And it came out on the 25th of January. So like I'm doing halfway better than that. Most of the other videos are like in single digits, but you know. I'm making content that everybody's tired of already. But the thing I do find funny about like my like when we're doing a series like this,
Mhm.
I do find it interesting like people will pick up in like the middle of the series. So like you would assume that at the very least, if there's somebody watching it, they'll watch every episode because they've started at episode 1 and like I'm on a clear schedule, so I'll come out every day at noon, and so I just can't help but like who's watching it. First off, who's watching in the middle? Like who's like, oh snap, God of War. What's this episode 74? All right, I'll check this out. And like that's the one. Like, are you gonna watch part every episode 74? That's like watching season 7 episode 3 of a like 11 season series. Like, why not just start the first episode and find out if you like it or not? Like, you're gonna ruin like at least parts of it if you watch in the middle. But luckily for us, the episode's over, so you know, get out.